Bob, let's kick off with you. What is IPTV?
Excellent question. Excellent question.
And I knew you'd be the best person to answer.
Well, because you hear lots of people say, ha, IPTV. I think many people assume that IPTV is television delivered via the web, accessed through the browser in some way, shape or form at home, because that's probably the most common usage of it. IP, of course, is just really, without grossly oversimplifying, a delivery mechanism. As opposed to broadcast television, IP is the mechanism that computers use, as everyone knows. So it lends itself naturally to the web. So I think really the biggest definition of IPTV that people would accept would be delivery of television content via the web. I don't know how my colleagues would feel about that.
Luke, let's develop that. How would you describe IPTV?
Well, I think it's slightly confusing because having worked in the industry for a long time and to experiences to set-top boxes which were IPTV, we used to call them IPTV, but in a sense it doesn't really matter because it's kind of ultimately what everybody else believes, and I think Bob's right that it's turned into online through a browser description of thing, rather than a technical description which we might have used for the experience. But I think it's also going to morph into a consumer product understanding where IPTV is really content delivered on demand with a back channel and so forth, and a more immersive, reactive experience. Ultimately, I think that's what it's going to.
Let's, Mark, ask you the same question, but also, for my own clarity, how does IPTV fit in to DSL-supplied, telco-supplied programming and content? Because they might consider that to be IP as well. It is IP, but...
I think that's a very good point, and I think there's been a transition over a number of years. I think initially, when IPTV first launched, certainly on the connected device side where we sit, IPTV almost meant telco TV. I remember at the early shows, certainly that's what it was. It was all about delivering television, video on demand, whatever, to telco customers through the telco network. I think, as already has been mentioned, I think in present times that's changed to mean something else. And I think what it means to us is a super bandwidth return channel that now other broadcasters, not just the telco providers, can actually use for putting high bandwidth entertainment down a channel to a consumer like video on demand. So I think initially it was very much a telco play, but I think now, as we're seeing, I think moving towards hybrid and multi-platform networks, it's very much seen as a high bandwidth return channel for delivering entertainment, of course using IP protocols.
Sure. So in that case, it's used by the broadcaster. It's used for delivering to computers, non-conventional broadcasting, and it's also used for broadcasting, but usually over a telco, in a telco environment.
Yes, I think that's where most people recognise it from, but as I said, I think this IP return channel is moving into every platform of television that we're currently seeing, satellite operators launching with a broadband backbone, etc. So I think it is migrating to more of a multi-platform approach.
I think the point you made about this, the user control, is the interesting thing, because when IPTV, as when you were first involved, this user control, the ability to control the stream from the device, was really not available until Sky Player came on board and PVRs were established.
Well, it was before then, but they were the mass market drivers. So when we did Home Choice from 99-2000 over a DSL in a network, that was exactly it, and that's what we used to call it in the industry then. But it's a technical term which has morphed into other kind of accepted products, really. But absolutely, it's about the user control interacting rather than the passive lean back experience of broadcast. That's something you can interact with and call content as you wish.